Our Parsha of the week is Mikketz. Mikketz. At the end of Shnatayim Yamim, at the end of 2 years of days. This refers to the story now of Joseph in Egypt. And Joseph, who has, like his father, a terrible time. He's a good guy. He does what his father tells him to do, and yet he has all the problems. And he's brought down to Egypt. And there he manages to pick himself up, and what happens? He does what he thinks is the right thing, and he ends up in the pit. He ends up right in the hole. He lands up in jail, underground jail. And there is total darkness there. And he has to get out. And then he predicts that Pharaoh's cupbearer would get out, would go and serve Pharaoh again. And he hoped that that cupbearer would remember him and haul him out of the darkness, haul him out of the pit. And indeed, that's all implied in the word Mikketz. Because Mikketz, the word ketz, has a messianic connotation. You have to be in total darkness to have the Messiah come and restore the situation. You have to have what you may think is chaos to bring back cosmos. Things have to achieve and reach their worst for recovery, for things to come up again. That is the concept of Messiah, messianic thought. That no matter how bad it is, how dark it is, it cannot get worse. Can it get better? That is the messianic connotation, Mikketz. And so therefore it comes, Mikketz, at the end of 2 years of days. Every day counted in Joseph's life. From day to day he had expectations. One day after another. 2 times 365, over 700 days. And then it comes. Ufaro cholem. And Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, has a dream which cannot be resolved. And Joseph is the one who resolves dreams. And he's called, he's hauled out of the pit. He sees the light once again. And that is the history of the people of Israel. Because you have a repetition of this very thing. If you have a look at the Jewish calendar, you will find that Mikketz always coincides with the festival of Hanukkah. And the festival of Hanukkah relates to the story of the Maccabees. The story of the Maccabees, those heroic men who saved the situation. The history of Israel was about to come to an end. They were overcome by their enemies, and then these few men come up and they change the darkness to light. And they commemorate the festival of lights, to light dark. In other words, to remember that they restored the light for the people of Israel. With total darkness, you start without light, and then you add the candles one after another, so that there is complete light once again. Once again, you have this messianic idea. Things cannot get worse. And what is the date of Hanukkah? The 25th of Kislev, the 25th day of the last day of the calendar in terms of the lunar cycle. But in actual fact, in the solar cycle, the 25th of Kislev is the 25th of December. And what is on the 25th of December? The day when you have almost total darkness relative to the light. Because as December comes, the midwinter comes, the days get shorter and shorter and shorter until it can't get shorter again. You'll think, we're going to be in complete darkness. And what happens? as it were, the Messiah comes and he changes the darkness to light. And we light the candles again to change that darkness to the light. More and more darkness. It can't get worse. Can it get better? Yes. When it's at its worst, it gets better. And that is what happens on the 25th of Kislev, and that is what happened on the 25th day of December. And in Christianity, the whole concept, the Messianic concept is taken over in Christianity with Christmas. And you have that change. Light, Messianic light, comes out of the darkness. And that concept is taken from the Hebrew calendar. It is taken from Jewish history. It is taken what happens to the Maccabees. When things seem to be at their worst, you have a change for the good. That is what happened to Joseph. That is what happened to the Maccabees. And it is happening again in the history of Israel. At the time of the darkest hour, at the time of the Shoah, at the time when 6 million were massacred and put to death, and one would have thought that this can be the end. Is there any future whatever? You have the resurrection of the people Israel and their own country. Once again, you're having a repetition of the history of Yosef. You're having a repetition of the history of the Maccabees. You're having the new times, the times when we can really have messianic expectations, and indeed that time is almost ripe.